The wind howls across the endless white, a low moan that carries the weight of forgotten winters. Snowflakes dance like fragile memories, swirling around the boots of a lone man trudging forward, his breath crystallizing in the frigid air. Elias, weathered by years of solitude, pulls his fur-lined coat tighter, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of shelter. His faithful goat, Mira, trots beside him, her bells tinkling softly against the vast silence. Elias wipes frost from his beard, his gloved hands trembling not just from the cold, but from a deeper ache, the loss of his wife years ago, leaving him to wander these frozen lands in search of purpose. Faith has been his anchor, a quiet prayer whispered into the night, hoping destiny might guide him still. Mira nudges his leg gently, as if sensing his sorrow, her warm eyes reflecting a bond forged in hardship. The tundra stretches like an infinite canvas, painted in shades of ivory and shadow, where the sun hangs low, casting long, ethereal glows. Elias pauses, gazing at the undulating drifts, feeling the pull of something unseen. A whisper of hope amid the desolation. Rural life has taught him patience. The land gives nothing easily, but it rewards those who listen. Mira stops abruptly, her ears perking up, a low bleat escaping her throat. Elias kneels beside her, stroking her coarse fur, wondering at her unease. The goat stares ahead, unblinking, toward a faint irregularity in the snow, a mound that doesn't belong, half buried under layers of ice. Destiny, he thinks, might be calling. With a makeshift shovel from his pack, Elias begins to dig, the crunch of snow echoing like a heartbeat. Flakes cling to his lashes as he works, sweat freezing on his brow. Mira circles nervously, bleeding warnings that tug at his heart. Trust in the animal's instinct, born from the wild rhythms of the earth. Layer by layer, the mound reveals itself. Wooden planks, weathered and ancient, peeking through like bones of a long-forgotten beast. Elias's pulse quickens. This is no natural formation. A cabin, hidden in the tundra's embrace, as if the land itself guarded its secret. Emotion swells in his chest, a mix of awe and trepidation. He clears the doorway, the wood creaking under his touch, splinters rough against his palms. Inside, darkness yawns, but a faint glimmer catches his eye. Mira hesitates at the threshold, her bleats growing insistent, a warning laced with primal fear. Elias whispers a prayer, stepping forward into the unknown. The air inside is stale, heavy with the scent of decay and old pine. Dust motes float in the slender beams of light piercing through cracks. Elias's lantern flickers to life, casting warm shadows on walls adorned with faded carvings. Symbols of faith, perhaps, from a bygone era. Hope flickers in him like the flame. Mira refuses to enter, pawing at the snow outside, her eyes wide with urgency. Elias turns back, his heart heavy with love for this creature that has been his companion through storms. "What is it, girl?" he murmurs, but she only bleats louder, as if the secret within threatens to unravel everything. Venturing deeper, Elias's boots echo on the creaking floorboards. Objects emerge from the gloom. A rusted lantern, a woven basket filled with dried herbs, remnants of rural life preserved in ice. Each discovery stirs memories of his own homestead, lost to time, evoking a poignant ache for what was. His fingers brush against a shelf, dislodging a small, leather-bound book. It falls with a thud, pages yellowed and brittle. Myra's warnings echo in his mind as he opens it, the script handwritten in a trembling hand. Diaries of someone who once sought refuge here. Mystery wraps around him like the cold. The entries speak of isolation, of prayers answered in whispers, of a destiny intertwined with the land. Elias reads aloud softly, his voice trembling with emotion. The tundra hides what the heart seeks. One line reads, "Faith renews in him." Perhaps this is no accident. But Myra's bleats turn frantic outside, pulling him from the pages. He steps out, snow crunching underfoot, to find her staring at the cabin's far wall, where a loose panel sways gently in the draft. A hidden compartment? His breath catches, suspense building in the silent expanse. Kneeling again, Elias pries at the panel, wood groaning in protest. Inside, a glint of metal, an ancient key, ornate and heavy, tied with a faded ribbon. And beneath it, a folded letter, sealed with wax bearing a symbol matching the wall carvings. The goat watches, her warning clear. Proceed with caution. The letter unfolds in his hands, the paper crisp despite the years. Words in elegant script. To the wanderer who finds this, the cabin holds the key to forgotten grace, but heed the guardian's call. Elias's eyes well with tears. Grace, hope, destiny, all woven into this moment. Mira nudges the key, bleeding softly now, as if affirming yet warning. Elias pockets it, his mind racing with questions. What door does it open? What secret lurks deeper? The rural mysticism of the place seeps into his soul, a tapestry of faith and enigma. Back inside, he searches with renewed purpose, lantern light dancing on walls. A chest in the corner, locked, its iron bands rusted but intact. The key fits perfectly, turning with a click that resonates like a heartbeat. Emotion chokes him, anticipation mingled with fear. The lid lifts slowly, revealing treasures. Old photographs of a family, faces etched with quiet determination. A crucifix carved from bone, and another note, partial revelations hinting at a greater truth. The blood of the land runs through the veins of the chosen, it says. Elias ponders, heart stirred by ancestral echoes. Mira enters now, cautiously, her presence a comforting anchor. She sniffs at the chest, then looks up at Elias with eyes that seem to hold ancient wisdom. A bond deeper than words, forged in the harsh beauty of tundra life. Suspense lingers in the air, thick as fog. Night falls outside, stars piercing the velvet sky like promises of hope. Elias sits by a makeshift fire, the cabin warming with crackling wood. He reflects on his journey, the loss that led him here, faith guiding his steps. The goat curls beside him, silent now, but vigilant. The diary speaks of signals, strange lights in the snow, whispers in the wind. Elias recalls his own sightings, auroras dancing unnaturally, shadows moving against the drifts. Partial revelations dawn. This cabin is a beacon, drawing the destined. A sudden gust rattles the door, and Mira bolts upright, bleeding fiercely. Elias rises, lantern in hand, peering into the darkness. Footprints in the snow? No, illusions of the mind. Yet tension coils in his chest, mystery growing like roots in frozen soil. He returns to the chest, finding a map etched on vellum, leading to a site beyond the cabin. An ancient marker, perhaps. Phrases from the letter echo. The secret inside warns of the greater veil. Revivals unexpected. The goat's warnings align with the writings. Emotion overwhelms him as he traces the map, tears freezing on his cheeks. Hope for redemption, for understanding his wife's passing as part of a larger design. Rural faith teaches surrender to the unknown. Destiny unfolds slowly. Mira presses against him, her warmth a balm. In silence, they share the moment, the crackle of fire the only sound. Reflections touch the heart. What if this is the path to healing? Suspense builds in the pause, magnetic and profound. Dawn creeps in, painting the tundra in soft pinks and golds. Elias packs the artifacts, the key heavy in his pocket. The cabin feels alive now, pulsing with secrets yet unveiled. He steps out, Mira leading the way toward the map's promise. The journey resumes, snow yielding underfoot, each step a prayer. Strange signs appear. A circle of stones, half buried, symbols glowing faintly in the light. Elias kneels, fingers tracing them, emotion surging, connection to the past. Mira warns again, bleeding at a shadow in the distance. A figure? No, the wind playing tricks. Yet revirvoltas stir. The map hints at a hidden chamber beneath the tundra, tied to the cabin's core. Partial truths emerge in his mind. The family in the photos, guardians of a sacred trust. Incognitas remain. Who were they? What secret demands warning? Faith propels him forward, hope a flickering light. The preambulo builds as they approach a ravine, the map's endpoint. Winds whisper phrases of impact. The goat knows the peril within. Elias pauses, heart pounding, reflecting on the bond that saved him thrice. Silence envelopes them, broken only by Myra's soft bleat. Destiny calls from the depths below, a great revelation teasing the edge of understanding. Emotion chokes the air. Fear, wonder, unyielding hope. Elias descends carefully, the goat following reluctantly. The ravine walls close in, etched with more carvings, stories of rural mystics who communed with the land. Tension mounts, every shadow a potential twist. At the bottom, a sealed door, ancient and foreboding, the keys match. Myra's warnings peak, her body trembling. Elias hesitates, prayer on his lips, the weight of the unknown pressing down. He inserts the key, the mechanism grinding like thunder in the quiet. The door creaks open, darkness beyond yawning wide. What lies inside? The secret the goat feared, the truth that could shatter or save. Emotion floods him, tears of anticipation, faith tested to its core. Hope whispers, this is the path. Mystery envelopes, suspense hanging like the northern lights. Mira stands firm, her eyes locking with his, a final warning or encouragement. The threshold beckons, the greater veil thinning. Elias steps forward, heart open to destiny's embrace. The air grows warmer, unnatural in the freeze. Faint glows emanate from within, promising revelations yet veiled. The journey deepens, the cabin's secret merely the beginning. The darkness beyond the door breathes, slow and deliberate, like lungs long dormant beneath the ice. Elias lifts the lantern higher, its flame trembling in a draught that carries the scent of earth and something sweeter, wildflowers preserved in eternal frost. Mira presses against his calf, her warmth the only tether to the world above. Her bleats now reduced to a low, vibrating hum of caution. He crosses the threshold. Stone gives way to packed earth underfoot, the walls narrowing into a tunnel that curves downward, roots of ancient willows threading through the ceiling like veins. Each step echoes with a hollow thud, as if the tundra itself is listening. The lantern light catches on veins of quartz, glittering like frozen tears, and Elias feels the weight of centuries pressing in. A memory surfaces unbidden. His wife, Clara, kneeling in their garden years ago, pressing a seed into his palm. "Plant hope where the ground seems hardest," she had whispered, her fingers warm against his calluses. The recollection stings, sharp as the cold, and he swallows it down, focusing on the path ahead. Faith, he reminds himself, is the seed that survives winter. Mira stops, ears flat, staring at a patch of wall where the quartz forms a perfect circle. Within it, a carving. A goat, horns curved like a crescent moon, eyes inlaid with obsidian that seem to follow them. Elias traces the lines with reverence, the stone cool and smooth. The animal in the carving mirrors Mira exactly. Same tilt of the head, same defiant stare. A chill unrelated to the air crawls up his spine. He kneels, lantern lowered, and notices faint scratches beneath the carving. Words in a language older than any he knows, yet somehow familiar, like a lullaby half-remembered. The letters shimmer, then fade, as if shy of the light. Mira nudges the wall with her muzzle, and a panel shifts with a soft click, revealing a narrow alcove. Inside, a single sprig of dried lavender, tied with twine, and a child's mitten, tiny and frayed, the wool still holding the ghost of a small hand. Emotion crashes over him like a wave. Whose child? Whose grief preserved here? He lifts the mitten gently, the fibers crumbling at the edges, and tucks the lavender into his coat pocket beside the key. Mira watches, silent now, her warning softened into something like sorrow. The tunnel feels less like a passage and more like a confession. They move on. The air grows heavier, scented with resin and something metallic. The walls widen into a chamber, vast and domed, the ceiling lost in shadow. In the center stands a stone plinth, waist-high, its surface etched with the same circular symbol. Upon it rests a bowl, simple clay, cracked but unbroken, filled with dark soil that glints with flecks of gold. Elias's breath catches. The soil is warm to the touch, pulsing faintly, as if alive. He dips a finger. The warmth spreads up his arm, soothing the ache of old wounds he didn't know still bled. Visions flicker at the edges of his sight. Clara laughing in sunlight, a child's footprints in summer dust, the cabin above bathed in auroras that spell words he cannot read. Hope, raw and unguarded, floods his chest until he fears his ribs might crack. Mira circles the plinth, sniffing, then rears back with a sharp bleat. The soil ripples. From its depths rises a single shoot, green, impossible in this frozen underworld, unfurling leaves that glow with soft bioluminescence. Elias stares, transfixed, as the plant grows taller, buds forming and blooming into flowers the color of dawn. Their petals unfurl like tiny hands reaching for light that isn't there. A sound, soft, deliberate, footsteps on stone. Elias whirls, lantern raised, but the chamber is empty. Yet the air shifts charged with presence. Myra's ears swivel toward the far wall, where shadows coalesce into the faint outline of a door, seamless until this moment. The goat's warning returns, urgent now, her body trembling against his leg. He approaches the door, the key burning cold in his pocket. The wood is pale, almost bone-white, carved with scenes of rural life. Harvests under golden skies, families gathered around hearths, goats leading processions through fields of lavender. At the center, a lock shaped like the circular symbol. Elias hesitates, the weight of choice pressing down. Open it, and the mystery deepens. Turn back, and the questions fester forever. Clara's voice, soft as wind through wheat. Some doors are meant to be opened by those who've lost enough to understand. He closes his eyes, sees her face, feels the mitten in his pocket like a child's trust. Faith is not the absence of fear, he realizes, but the decision to walk through it. The key slides home. The lock turns with a sound like sighing. The door swings inward on silent hinges, revealing a staircase spiraling down into absolute dark. Warm air rises, carrying the scent of turned earth and distant rain. Mira presses close, her bleat now a question rather than a warning. Together they descend. Each step is a heartbeat. The walls here are smooth, polished by centuries of touch, and lined with niches holding objects. A shepherd's crook, a spindle whorl, a tiny bell no larger than a thimble. Relics of lives lived in devotion to something greater than survival. Elias's fingers brush them as he passes, drawing strength from their quiet endurance. Halfway down, the staircase widens into a landing. A mural covers the wall, vibrant even in the lantern's glow, depicting a procession. People in simple wool, goats at the fore, carrying lanterns toward a horizon where the tundra meets a sea of stars. At the procession's heart, a figure holds a bowl of glowing soil, offering it to the sky. The figure's face is turned away, but the stance is achingly familiar. Elias's throat tightens. The mural feels like memory, though he's never seen it before. Mira noses the wall, and a section of stone slides aside, revealing a small recess. Inside, a locket, silver tarnished black, engraved with the initial CE, his own, his wife's. The chain is broken, but the clasp holds a single strand of dark hair, hers, he knows without doubt. Tears fall unchecked now, freezing on his cheeks. He opens the locket. Inside, a miniature portrait. Clara, younger, smiling, and beside her, a child he never knew she carried. The loss is a fresh wound, yet beneath it blooms a fierce, protective love. Destiny, cruel and kind, has led him here to grieve and to guard. Myra's bleat pulls him back. The staircase continues, the darkness below now threaded with faint light, golden, pulsing, like the soil's glow magnified. The air hums with a low vibration, felt in the bones. Elias pockets the locket, the weight of it anchoring him. Whatever waits below, it is tied to blood, to love, to the secret the goat has guarded all along. They reach the bottom. The chamber is vast, a cathedral carved from the earth's heart. At its center, a tree, ancient, immense. Its trunk white as birch, roots sprawling like rivers across the floor. Its leaves are silver, chiming softly in a breeze that doesn't exist. Beneath it, the soil glows, a living constellation. And standing among the roots, a figure cloaked in shadow, face obscured, holding a staff topped with the circular symbol. The figure speaks, voice like wind through reeds. The guardian has brought the seeker. The circle completes. Mira steps forward, unafraid now, and the figure kneels, pressing a hand to the goat's head. Light flares between them, soft and reverent. Elias's heart stutters, recognition, terror, wonder. The figure rises, hood falling back. The face is Clara's, yet not older, timeless, eyes holding the depth of stars. "You were never lost, my love," she says, voice trembling with tears and triumph. "Only led." The tree's leaves chime louder, a song of welcome and warning. The soil beneath his feet pulses, calling. Elias reaches for her, but the space between them shimmers, a veil yet unbroken. Mira looks back at him, eyes luminous with purpose. The secret inside is not a thing but a threshold. To cross it is to leave the man he was, to embrace the destiny woven through loss and faith. The chamber holds its breath. He steps forward, hand outstretched, the locket warm against his chest. The tree's light envelopes him, the goat at his side, the figure, Clara or her echo, smiling through tears. The veil thins, revealing glimpses. Fields of lavender under endless summer, children laughing, goats leading the way. Hope, vast as the tundra, unfurls. But the vision wavers. A shadow stirs at the chamber's edge, something vast, ancient, watching. Myra's ears flatten. The figure's smile falters. "Not yet," she whispers. "The circle must hold." The tree's chime deepens into a warning. Elias feels the pull of two worlds, the weight of a choice that will reshape everything. The shadow moves. The soil trembles. Clara's hand reaches through the veil, fingers brushing his. Warmth, love, a promise. "Trust the guardian," she says. "Trust the secret." Then the veil snaps shut, the light dims, and the chamber plunges into darkness, save for the glow of the soil beneath his feet, pulsing like a heartbeat. Elias stands alone with Mira, the locket heavy, the tree's chime fading into silence. The staircase behind them is gone. Only forward now, into the roots, into the heart of the secret the tundra has kept for millennia. The goat nudges him, gentle but insistent. Destiny waits in the dark. The darkness is not empty. It is thick with memory, like sap in the veins of the tree. Elias breathes it in, and the air tastes of turned earth after rain, of bread cooling on a windowsill, of Clara's hair the morning she told him she was leaving the village to find the place the old song spoke of. Myra's bell gives a single, clear note, and the sound ricochets through the roots overhead, guiding them forward where no lantern can reach. He walks blind, one hand on the goat's warm flank, the other clutching the locket. The soil beneath his boots is soft now, almost spongy, and with every step a faint pulse answers, thump, thump, like a second heart learning his rhythm. The tree's roots arch above them, forming a living tunnel, silver bark luminous with its own slow light. He feels watched, not by eyes but by attention older than sight. A memory surfaces again. Clara singing to the goats at dusk, her voice low and steady, the animals leaning into the sound as if it were grain. He had teased her once, said the goats loved her more than he did. She had laughed, pressed her forehead to his, and whispered, "They hear the same song I do. One day you will too." He understands now. The song is here, humming in the roots, in the soil, in Myra's quiet breath. The tunnel opens. They step into a hollow beneath the tree's heart, where the trunk splits into a natural alcove. The walls are smooth, pale as bone, and veined with gold that moves like liquid when he stares too long. At the center lies a pool, no wider than a washtub, its surface mirror still, reflecting not the chamber but a sky he has never seen. Lavender dusk, two moons, fields of wheat bending in wind that smells of summer. Mira lowers her head and drinks. The water ripples and the reflection fractures into scenes. A boy with Clara's eyes chasing a white goat through snow. An old woman weaving lavender into a crown. Elias himself, younger, standing at the edge of this very pool, reaching for a hand that isn't there yet. Each image lingers only a heartbeat before dissolving. The goat lifts her dripping muzzle and looks at him. Steady, ancient, unafraid. He kneels. The pool's edge is warm, the stone worn smooth by generations of knees. His reflection stares back, but the eyes are not quite his. Older, sadder, lit from within. The locket grows hot against his chest. When he opens it, the portrait of Clara and the unknown child glows faintly, and the strand of hair lifts as if stirred by breeze. A single drop of water clings to Myra's beard. It falls into the pool and sends out perfect circles that spell words in a script he suddenly knows how to read. The circle is not closed. The water says, voice layered like many throats. It widens to hold what was lost. Emotion rises in him, too vast for tears. He thinks of every mile walked since Clara left, every prayer muttered into blizzards, every night he woke reaching for a warmth no longer beside him. The pool shows him the moment she stepped into the tundra alone, staff in hand, goat at her side. Myra's mother, perhaps, or grandmother, carrying the bowl of glowing soil like a lantern. She had not abandoned him. She had gone ahead to prepare the way. Mira butts his shoulder gently, urging. He understands. The pool is not for looking but for crossing. He removes his gloves, fingers numb with more than cold, and touches the surface. It yields like warm honey. Images flood him, stronger now, tactile. He feels Clara's hand in his the day they married under the willows. Smells the smoke of their first hearth. Hears the unborn child's heartbeat, quick as a bird's, the night the fever took her before he even knew. The grief is a blade, but beneath it lies something fiercer. Purpose. The pool is asking for the part of him that died with her, the part that wandered aimless, cursing destiny. He must lay it down to pass through. Mira steps to the edge, hooves silent on the stone, and waits. The goat will not cross without him, nor he without the goat. They are bound now, guardian and seeker, two halves of the same circle. He unclasps the locket, kisses the portrait once, and lets it sink. The water closes over it without a sound. Something inside him loosens, a knot pulled free after years. The reflection in the pool shifts. The second moon brightens, and the wheat fields stretch to the horizon. A path appears, narrow, glowing, leading from the pool's far edge into the impossible sky. Elias stands. His coat feels lighter, as if the tundra's weight has lifted. Mira shakes herself, bells chiming like distant chapel bells, and together they step onto the path. The pool does not splash. It simply parts, and they walk on water that holds them like packed earth. Behind, the tree's roots close gently, sealing the chamber. Ahead, the lavender dusk deepens to true night, stars igniting one by one. The path slopes upward, though they are still beneath the world. With each step, the air grows warmer, carrying scents of thyme and wood smoke. Voices drift on the wind, children laughing. A woman singing the same lullaby Clara once hummed to the goats. Elias's heart pounds with recognition and dread in equal measure. The song is calling him home, but home is not the cabin, not the village, not even the life he remembers. They crest a rise. Below spreads a valley cupped in the roots of the great tree, though the tree itself is no longer visible. Cabins, simple, thatched, glowing from within, dot the landscape like fireflies. Goats graze in meadows of silver grass. Figures move between the homes, carrying lanterns that cast no shadow. One turns and Elias sees Clara. Truly her, not an echo. Standing in a doorway, a child on her hip, another tugging her skirt. She lifts a hand in greeting, tears shining on her cheeks. Mira trots forward, bells singing and the child. A girl with Clara's dark hair runs to meet her, burying her face in the goat's neck. The scene is so ordinary, so achingly perfect, that Elias's knees buckle. He has crossed death's border without noticing, or perhaps the border crossed him. The valley hums with the same pulse he felt in the soil, the same warmth that bloomed when he touched the key, the locket, the pool. Clara walks to him, the baby balanced on her hip, the older child clinging to Mira. She stops an arm's length away, eyes searching his face as if memorizing it anew. "You kept the faith," she says, voice rough with wonder. "Even when I couldn't tell you the way." He reaches for her, half expecting his hand to pass through mist, but her fingers are solid, calloused from work he does not yet know. The child stares up at him, solemn, then smiles. A smile that holds the tundra's endless sky. "Papa," she says, the word simple and shattering. Behind them, the path begins to fade, the pool's glow dimming in the distance. The valley is real, but not eternal. It is a threshold, a resting place, a promise. Clara squeezes his hand. "There is more," she says. The circle widens still. The tree bears fruit only when the lost are found, and the found choose to give. Mira bleats once, sharp, and looks back toward the closing path. Duty stirs in Elias's chest, mingling with joy. He understands now. The cabin, the key, the pool, the valley, they are not the end but the forging. Something waits beyond, something that needs the soil, the song, the guardian and the seeker together. The shadow he glimpsed in the chamber stirs at the edge of thought, patient, ancient, hungry. Clara presses the baby into his arms. The child is warm, heavy with life, smelling of milk and lavender. "Her name is Hope," Clara says, "and she must return with you." The tundra forgets how to dream without her. Elias cradles the infant, tears falling onto her dark curls. The older child takes his free hand, small fingers strong. Mira stands ready, bells silent now, waiting for the word. The valley's lanterns flicker, as if the night itself holds its breath. He looks at Clara, memorizing her face in this impossible light. "Will you come?" he asks, voice breaking. She shakes her head, smiling through tears. "I am the root, you are the branch. Go, carry what we planted." She kisses him, soft, fierce, eternal, then steps back. The path reopens behind him, glowing brighter, urgent. Elias turns, hope against his chest, the older child's hand in his, Mira leading. The valley fades with each step, cabins dissolving into starlight, songs softening to whispers. The pool waits, patient as dawn. Beyond it, the staircase, the chamber, the tree, the tundra, all rearranged now, ready for what comes next. They step through the pool. Water closes over them, warm and weightless, then releases them onto stone. The chamber is as they left it, but the tree's leaves chime a new note, triumphant, expectant. The shadow at the edge has grown, no longer content to watch. It unfurls like smoke, taking the shape of a man tall as the roots, eyes empty as winter midnight. Mira plants her feet, horns lowered. Hope stirs in Elias's arms, tiny fist glowing faintly with the soil's light. The older child presses close, unafraid. The shadow speaks, voice like ice cracking. The circle widens, but some must remain outside it. Elias feels the weight of every choice, every loss, every prayer. He lifts the child higher, the glow brightening until it fills the chamber. "Not while we breathe," he says, and the tree answers with a roar of silver leaves. The shadow lunges. The soil erupts. Roots burst through stone, wrapping the darkness in living light. Mira charges, bells ringing like war cries. Hope laughs, a sound pure as spring, and the glow becomes a blaze. Elias stands at the center, children in his arms, goat at his side, faith no longer a whisper but a shout. The battle is silent, swift, inevitable. The shadow shrieks, unraveling into threads that the roots drink like water. When it is gone, the chamber is quiet, the tree taller, its fruit, small, golden, pulsing, hanging heavy within reach. Elias plucks one. It is warm, alive, humming the same song Clara sang to the goats. He knows what he must do. The fruit is for the tundra above, for the cabin, for the world that forgot how to dream. The circle widens, yes, but only if he carries it outward. Mira looks at him, eyes luminous with pride. The children cling tight, ready. Together they climb. The staircase reforms beneath their feet. The pool seals behind them. The tree's chime fades to a heartbeat. Daylight waits above, pale and cold, but no longer empty. Elias steps into the snow, fruit in one hand, hope in his arms, the older child riding Myra's back. The cabin stands as they left it, but the door is open, light spilling out like an invitation. The tundra stretches wide, hungry for what they bring. Somewhere, a goat bells in the distance. Another guardian, perhaps, or an echo. Elias breathes deep, the fruit's warmth spreading through him like sunrise. The secret inside was never a thing to keep. It was a seed to sow. He walks forward, children laughing, Mira leading, the circle widening with every step. The snow accepts their footprints like a page waiting for ink. Each step leaves a small, perfect circle of warmth that lingers a moment before the frost reclaims it. Elias walks at the center of the little procession. Hope asleep against his chest, her breath a steady tide. The older girl, Leora, Clara had named her in the valley. Perched on Myra's broad back, fingers tangled in coarse fur, eyes wide at the vast white world she has never seen. The fruit pulses in his pocket, a second heart. Its glow seeps through the wool, painting soft gold across the snow. Myra's bells answer with a rhythm older than language, and the tundra listens. Far off, a lone wolf lifts its head, ears pricked, then turns away, acknowledging rather than challenging. The land knows its own. They crest a ridge. The cabin stands below, but it is changed. The roof sags less. The door hangs straighter. Smoke rises from the chimney in a thin, hopeful ribbon. Elias's breath catches. Someone has been here. Someone is here now. Myra's ears swivel forward. Her warning bleats soft, almost curious. Leora leans down, whispering to the goat in a language of clicks and murmurs that makes Myra's tail flick in pleasure. Elias descends. The snow crunches, then softens, as if the ground itself exhales. The cabin door opens before he reaches it. A woman steps out, tall, silver-haired, wrapped in a coat of patched wolf and reindeer. Her face is lined like old parchment, but her eyes are young, bright as the pool's impossible sky. She carries a staff topped with the same circular symbol, now worn smooth by generations of palms. "You are late," she says, voice warm with smoke and honey. "But not too late." She kneels, offering a hand to Leora. The child slides from Myra's back without fear, taking the woman's fingers as naturally as breathing. Hope stirs, opens her eyes, Clara's eyes, and smiles at the stranger. The woman's own eyes glisten. "I am keeper of the threshold," she says, rising. "Your wife sent word through the roots. The fruit ripens only once in 100 winters. You have carried it far." She gestures to the open door. Inside, the cabin is transformed. Walls lined with shelves of dried herbs and glowing jars. A hearth blazing with logs that smell of pine and distant summer. A table set with bread, cheese, and a bowl of dark soil identical to the one beneath the tree. Elias steps inside. The warmth wraps him like Clara's arms once did. Mira follows, bells chiming against the doorframe, and the keeper closes the door behind them. Snowflakes melt on the threshold, hissing softly. Leora runs to the hearth, pressing small hands to the stones as if greeting old friends. Hope reaches for the bowl of soil, fingers glowing faintly where they touch it. The keeper watches, expression unreadable. "The circle widens," she says, echoing Clara's words. "But it must be anchored. The fruit is seed, soil is womb, children are promise. You are the hand that plants." She lifts a small clay pot from the shelf, empty, waiting. Here, or beyond? Elias understands. Plant the fruit in the cabin's soil, and the valley's dream takes root in this world. Slow, steady, bound to the rhythm of seasons. Carry it farther, and the dream spreads wild, unpredictable, perhaps dangerous. The shadow that unraveled in the chamber was only a tendril. The true hunger waits in the spaces between circles, patient as permafrost. He looks at his daughters. Leora hums the lullaby Clara sang, tracing circles in the hearth ashes. Hope sleeps again, tiny fist curled around a strand of Myra's beard. The goat stands sentinel, eyes reflecting the fire. The keeper waits, staff grounded, neither urging nor forbidding. Choice is his, as it was Clara's when she left the village with nothing but faith and a white goat. Outside, the wind shifts. A low moan rises, carrying voices. Not the tundra's usual song, but something jagged, hungry. The cabin's walls creak. The fire flickers, though no draft enters. Myra's ears flatten. The keeper's grip tightens on her staff. Leora looks up, no longer humming. Hope whimpers in her sleep. Elias feels it, the shadow gathering. It sensed the fruits ripening, followed the glow through the roots, through the pool, through the valley's brief bloom. It is close now, wearing the shape of absence. A patch of snow that does not reflect light, a silence that swallows sound. The circle is widening, yes, but something widens with it, reaching. He kneels, opens the clay pot, and places the fruit inside. It sinks into the soil like a star into night. Warmth spreads through the room, golden and fierce. The hearth flames leap higher. The jars on the shelves glow brighter. The bowl of soil on the table pulses in answer. Leora laughs, a sound like bells. Hope opens her eyes and reaches toward the pot, palm glowing. The keeper nods once, solemn. Anchored, she says. But anchoring draws the tide. The door rattles. Not wind, something testing the latch, learning its shape. Mira steps between the door and the children, horns lowered, bells silent. Elias stands, heart steady. He understands now. The cabin is not refuge but fulcrum. The fruit will grow here, yes, but growth invites pruning. The shadow will come and come again, until the circle is strong enough to hold it, or until it breaks through. He lifts Hope into his arms, settles Leora on his hip. The keeper opens a chest beneath the table, revealing a second staff shorter, carved from the same pale wood as the valley door, topped with a circle of silver. For the seeker who became guardian, she says, offering it. The wood is warm, humming like the fruit. Mira noses it, approving. Outside, the moaning stops. Silence falls, heavier than snow. Then a single knock, slow, deliberate. The latch lifts a finger's breadth, then stills. The keeper's eyes meet Elias's. It learns, she whispers, but it cannot enter uninvited. Not yet. Elias grips the staff. Power thrums through it, rooted in the soil, in the fruit, in the children's breath. He feels Clara in the wood, in the warmth, in the choice. The circle is anchored, but it is also a door. He steps forward, places his free hand on the cabin door. The wood is hot, alive. Invite what must be faced, the keeper says, or bar it until the tree bears again. Either way, the children will grow in the light you choose. Leora tugs his sleeve. Papa, she says, pointing to the window. Outside, the snow glows, not with the fruit's gold, but with a cold, blue-white shimmer. Shapes move within it. Tall, thin, faceless. They do not walk. They unfold. Myra's bells give a single, clear warning. Hope begins to cry, soft but piercing. Elias looks at the pot. A tiny green shoot has already broken the soil, leaves unfurling like hope made visible. He looks at his daughters, at the goat, at the keeper, then at the door. The shadow waits, patient as winter, learning the shape of invitation. He takes a breath. The circle widens. Elias presses his palm to the door, feeling the pulse beneath the wood. The tree, the fruit, the valley, Clara's heartbeat echoing through every grain. The shadow outside waits, patient as the centuries it has hungered. He closes his eyes and sees the circle. Not a line drawn in snow, but a living ring of light. Cabin, children, goat, keeper, soil, seed, love, loss, faith. It widens with every breath he takes. He opens the door. The cold rushes in, but it is not the tundra's familiar bite. It is absence made air, silence given teeth. The shadow stands on the threshold, tall as the sky, faceless yet watching. Its edges fray into smoke that tastes of forgotten prayers. Mira steps forward, bells ringing clear and defiant. The children cling to Elias's legs, Hope's glow and Leora's small hand anchoring him to the warmth behind. The keeper lifts her staff. "Speak the invitation," she says, voice steady as stone. Elias looks into the shadow's emptiness and sees his own grief reflected. Every night he woke reaching for Clara, every mile walked in blame, every prayer that felt unanswered. The shadow is not evil. It is the space where light has not yet been planted. He understands at last. The circle widens not to exclude, but to include. "Come," he says, voice soft but sure. There is room. The shadow hesitates, form flickering. Then it steps across the threshold, not as conqueror but as guest. The cabin's warmth folds around it like arms. The fruit's glow flares. The shoot in the pot stretches taller, leaves unfurling silver and gold. The shadow shrinks, folding in on itself, until it is no larger than a man. It kneels. Mira lowers her horns, not in threat but in welcome. The children reach out, tiny hands glowing. The shadow places something in their palms. A seed, dark and cold, the last piece of its hunger. Hope closes her fist around it. The seed warms, cracks, sends out a root that burrows into the cabin floor. Leora laughs, the sound bright as dawn. The keeper smiles, tears on her cheeks. "The circle holds," she says, "and grows." Outside, the tundra exhales. Snow begins to fall. Not the hard, cutting flakes of winter, but soft, fat, luminous, each one carrying a spark of the valley's impossible sky. The shadow, now only a man-shaped silhouette of night, stands lighter. "I was the space between," he says, voice like wind finding its way through cracks. "You have filled me." Elias offers his hand. The silhouette takes it, solid now, warm. Together they step outside. The snow settles on the chute rising through the cabin floor, on Myra's bells, on the children's hair. Where it touches, green pushes through frost. Tiny blades of grass, sprigs of lavender. The first brave flowers of a spring the tundra has never known. Word spreads on the wind. Goats bell in the distance. Wanderers, those who have walked lost, like Elias once did, turn toward the glow on the horizon. The cabin stands open, hearth blazing, table set for many. The keeper brews tea from herbs that bloom in jars. Leora and Hope chase Mira through new grass, laughter echoing across the white. Years pass like heartbeats. The tree beneath the tundra bears fruit again and again, carried outward by hands that once knew only cold. Cabins rise where none stood before, circles of light widening across the endless plain. The shadow walks among them, no longer hunger but memory, teaching that every empty space is a place waiting for seed. Elias grows old in the way of roots, deep, strong, unhurried. Clara's locket hangs above the hearth, portrait faded but smiling. On quiet nights he sits with the man who was once shadow, sharing bread and stories. Mira, gray-muzzled but bright-eyed, sleeps by the fire, bells polished by children's hands. Hope and Leora, tall now, lead processions of goats and seekers, planting fruit where grief once froze the ground. One evening, as auroras dance in familiar script across the sky, Elias steps outside. The tundra is no longer white. It is a sea of silver grass and lavender under starlight. He feels Clara in the wind, in the soil, in the circle that has no end. Mira nudges his hand, bells chiming the old lullaby. He smiles, tears warm on his cheeks. The circle widens, and the secret inside, once hidden, feared, guarded, is now the light every wanderer follows home.